is our next presentation, and this is the next content in our writing and communication course as well. Now, listening skill is one of the most important skills for your success in a college degree program, because you attend lot many classes, and in almost all classes you have to engage in careful listening. Either you have to listen to a presentation by your professor, or you have to listen to a presentation by any of the classmates, or sometimes you have to involve in group discussions with other classmates, where you are supposed not only to speak but also you are supposed to listen to the ideas very carefully. Therefore, listening is one of the foundational skills to have in your degree program. Now, generally we confuse listening with hearing, but we need to make a very clear differentiation between both of them. Hearing, as you can see on the slide, is accidental. Also, it is involuntary. That is, hearing takes place without your conscious effort. So, when the window was open and noise coming in, you were able to hear the noise, even if you were trying to focus on my lecture. Also, hearing is effortless. It does not involve any effort on your part. On the other hand, listening is focused. It is voluntary. That is, you have to make a conscious effort to listen. A lot of effort, actually. And it is intentional. You decide to listen. You choose to listen. Or you might choose not to listen. Now, in the listening process, we confront lot many difficulties. It is because of those difficulties that we are unable to listen clearly, or we are unable to listen effectively. The first obstacle in our listening, successful listening, is the physical noise. I'm sure you remember the example when I asked Matt to close the window, because there was noise coming in, physical noise coming in, and I was concerned that you people won't be able to listen to me. You would be able to hear me anyway, but you won't be able to listen to me while I'm speaking because of that noise. So the physical noise might have quite a number of resources, but that we sometimes ignore. For example, the noise could come from the air conditioning system in your room. It might come from the fan, which is, struggling in your room. Sometimes the physical noise can come from the construction which is going on outside the window. Sometimes it is some gossip, or it is the people walking outside the room where you are sitting trying to concentrate. So there are quite a number of resources of physical noise. So first step towards successful listening is to eliminate all the sources of physical noise. Then, psychological noise. Psychological noise is a noise which is coming from inside you. You have some worry, you have some concern, you have little bit anxiety about any issue which is going on in your family, in the circle of your friends. You have fear of failure. for example, or you are struggling with some financial issues, you have some tuition fee that you have to pay, you have that on your shoulders, and you are constantly thinking about that. Unfortunately, this is the noise only you can see. Therefore, only you can eliminate it. But it probably is more stronger obstacle in the way of your listening. So you keep thinking about that instead of being able to listen to what is being told to you. And then there is a physiological noise as well, which is the third difficulty in listening. Physiological noise is a noise which relates with your body. Sometimes you are hungry, you missed your meal because of time mismanagement. And of course, the hunger is nagging you. Okay? The hunger is not allowing you to focus on what is being told to you. You are not able to listen. Or you might have pain in any part of your body. Maybe headache, which is most common. Maybe throat ache. So for successful listening, you have to overcome the noise coming from your body itself. Again, this is a kind of noise only you can hear. Your professor probably is, in quite a happy mood that you are sitting so quietly and seem to be so focused. But the professor doesn't know that you have any of the physiological noise going on. Okay, so you must take care of all the physiological noises which could stop you from listening to what the professor is telling in class. And then there is another kind of noise, it is called semantic noise. Semantic noise means that when the speaker is speaking, the speaker is using any words or vocabulary or using such terms which are not understandable for you. So in every sentence, the speaker is using a term which is new to you. Therefore, you are not able to get what the speaker is saying. So when the speaker speaks the first sentence with an unknown term in it, your mind tries to define it. What does that term mean? And while you are thinking about it, the speaker is already on the second sentence. Alright? And in the second sentence, there are two terms of that kind. And your mind then jumps to the second sentence, tries to understand what those terms might mean. And the speaker is already on third sentence. Alright? After a few sentences, you lose the track. Your mind loses the track of what the speaker is saying. This is called semantic noise. So your brain from itself, from inside becomes noisy because it's not able to understand the meaning of the words which that speaker is speaking. This is very common again. Semantic noise is very common, especially at college university level, because many of your professors happen to be big researchers in their field. Okay, so they are kind of at a high place, and they live in the world of those big ideas, and sometimes they tend to use those ideas in front of the new students, the fresh, especially kind of freshman students. So you might not be able to understand the whole lecture just because the professor is in the habit of using unknown terms and words in every second sentence that she or he speaks. Now, there is a solution to that problem. It is a little longer solution, but it can work. If you have determined that that is the obstacle, it is because of semantic problem that you are unable to listen to the professor. Then the way to go about it is to talk to the professor and ask her or him about the next lesson. Usually it is in the outline. Also ask the professor what is the reading for that class. Usually the professors tell the reading. They give you a chapter to read or a few pages to read. Now your job is not to read the whole of that chapter or whatever, but quickly browse through to see what are the words in it which are new for you. Underline those words and write their meanings in the margin of that text or maybe in your own diary. So that when you come to the class for the lecture, you should at least know half of the words and their meanings which the professor is going to use in class. Especially, at FC College you have to take a few courses which you have never studied in the past. Especially in those classes, you have to struggle a lot. So you never studied, for example, statistics, you might have to take that. Or maybe biology, you never studied in life, but you have to take that. Especially for such classes, students, while sitting in the class, they get detract. They get detract. They are not able to digest the information which is being given to you. The biggest problem is the semantic one in that case. Because otherwise, the student is successful in all other courses. Okay? But it is only that one course which the student has never studied in life. The student has never studied that subject in life. Okay? Or at higher level courses, when you are 300, 400 level in your fourth semester, sometimes you might face that problem as well. Anyways, attention span. Sometimes you don't realize, but the talk or the speech which is going on, it might exceed 60 minutes, 70 minutes. So human attention has a span, roughly 40, 45 minutes. After that, it starts declining. If you feel that is the problem, it is okay after 40 to 45 minutes to give yourself a break. Usually professors should do that. Okay, so they should not have the students listen to something for 1 hour or 1 hour 25 minutes in a row without any break. Rather, there should be diversity of activities. So you listen for 20 minutes, then you write something for 20 minutes. And then you relax, do nothing for a few minutes, and then start again, like that. In some cases, a break can also help. Okay. Anyways, another listening difficulty is the listener's bias. It happens rarely, but listeners' bias about the speaker, for example, a listener might have this attitude towards the speaker, thereby saying that I don't need to listen because whatever the speaker is saying, I already know that. Something of that kind. This attitude towards the speaker is called bias of the listener, and it blocks our mind from letting anything go into it, because we already presume that I know what this person is saying. So your mind won't bother to struggle to understand anything. In the long run, it might not pay you very well. Sometimes we have listening apprehensions. Apprehension is your fear. For example, you take a course with a professor, and after one class or two, you start telling yourself, this is not a right course for me. This is not the right teacher for me. So listen, if that is what you think, then leave the course. Don't attend the course and keep telling this to yourself. If you decide to attend the course and take the course till the end, then you first must change this attitude and start giving yourself a different reinforcement. start telling you that, well, I have to overcome the difficulty. I know I'm not able to get the message in the beginning, but I have to overcome it. Let's see where is the problem. Is there any physical noise? Is there any psychological noise? Is there any physiological noise? Is there any semantic problem? Where is the problem? But don't give yourself this attitude towards the speaker. No one will suffer except you. Alright? So, this is one of the apprehensions one can have. For example, I'm not at a right place, this is the wrong class for me, or this topic is too difficult for me. If you start telling yourself that this topic is too difficult for you, that means you have decided not to resolve the problem, not to address it. In order to address it, well, you know that this is a new topic for you, but then how to learn it? Now, one point that especially we should kind of remind ourselves is that listening is not a mechanical activity. The way we have been thinking about the word listening, okay, he can listen, he cannot listen. No, he can hear or he cannot hear. That differentiation is possible. But listening is not just mechanical. It is not just about ear. It is just one part of the 5 parts. Listening, the mechanical ear contributes just one part of the total 5 parts of listening process. So after receiving the words from me, when you are listening, after receiving the words from me, then your brain starts working. It should start working. For what? For understanding. And then brain should continue to work so that you can remember this information. And then your brain should continue to work to give an opinion about the information that you have received. Evaluating. You can evaluate. You can tell how this information is different from other piece of information that you listened somewhere else. You should be able to tell whether the information which has been provided to you authentic or not, valid or not, things of that kind. And finally, interesting enough, speaking is also part of the listening. You should be able to tell somebody, re-describe the information that you received. If you cannot re-describe the information that you received, then you did not listen fully. That was incomplete listening. Okay, so that is the purpose of having an exam after the semester. We want to check, did you listen or not? If you listened, you should be able to reproduce the information. You should be able to re-describe the information. So listening is that lengthy process. Okay, so what should we do to listen critically? By the word critically, we mean how to listen carefully, attentively. So these are the things we can go about. We can try to differentiate fact from opinion. When somebody is speaking, we should listen carefully and see how much of what this person is telling is based upon facts and how much is it based upon opinions. Then we should try to understand how many assumptions this speaker is making. Assumption is a statement without any evidence. And then we should be open to new ideas. If we want to listen critically, then we should be able to open our mind to new ideas. If somebody is telling about something which we don't like, for example, if I don't want to, if I don't like watching, say, Hollywood film, okay, and somebody is describing any of the Hollywood film or giving a lecture on that, I should not close my mind to what that person is saying. If I do that, that means I'm blocking my mind to the new information which is coming. I should open my mind to listen it. After I have listened it, after that, if there is anything I want to discredit in that speech or talk, I should do that. I have right to do that. But before that, I must have listened. Okay? So one attitude is that we tend not to listen whatever we don't like, and then after that person stops speaking, then we want to discredit that person too, without having listened to what that person said. That will not help us to have listening which is critical. Relate new ideas to old ones. Always make that comparison. That kind of multiplies your power to retain ideas. You can memorize more if you connect every new idea with the older idea that you have in your mind. Then take notes. They help a lot in effective listening. And then listening ethically. This is our human responsibility to listen to the person who is speaking to us. It's a moral obligation as well. We should listen to if we want to be listened to by other people. So, a community grows when all the people in a community are good listeners. They listen to each other's concerns, they listen to each other's problems, they listen not just to learn, but they also listen to live in a friendly manner, in a good manner. Alright? So, this was all about listening skill. Basically, we differentiated listening from hearing. We realized that we try to identify the obstacles in the way of effective listening, and then we also understood that listening is a stretched process. Okay, it is not just mechanical hearing. And then finally, we try to understand some of the strategies for effective and critical listening. If you have any questions, you can ask.